non-agenda item. Yes, sir, please step up to the podium. Did you sign in at the back of the room?
I did.
Good.
Front of the room, though.
Oh,
If that's okay. Good.
Thank
Well,
you. Welcome.
good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Smith, 111 Bridge Street. I know you're probably getting familiar seeing me up here. But just looking for an update on the Bridge Street seawall. I talked to Joe right before the meeting. Last we had spoke, or the first time we spoke about the new quote, I think was about 5 weeks ago. And we're still waiting for the new quote, but Joe spoke with me today saying that he sent a message, I think last week or this week, and there's still no answer back from this company. So just again, want to state it's been 5 years. You know, and it gets quite a bit of walking traffic from, you know, people just walking up and down the street. There's definitely some danger in terms of, you know, it's washed away. People can see it from the lake too, which is not, you know, a big concern for me, but it does get kind of annoying when everybody's walking, you know, or driving by or boating by saying, you know, hey, you know, when is this going to get fixed? What are you guys doing? You know, so it's, we kind of just say there, but for the most part, you know, safety has always been the top concern. We were told 5 years ago it was one of the city's top concern, at the time top concern. I understand there's other things that have come up that are higher priority, but we're at 5 years now. So just looking for some movement and action, and I apologize, but I'm going to be here, you know, at every meeting just kind of seeing how we're progressing, and I'm meaning that respectfully.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I know we talk about it frequently too. Joe, I want to know if it's truly 5 years or not. We talked about that last time. I take exception to that. So please give me a definitive answer.
I'll verify that.
All right.
I'd say longer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know my neighbors, Clark and Debbie, I think theirs was, I mean, this is a whole nother topic of conversation, but when their seawall originally, I'm sorry. When their seawall originally fell in, I want to say, and don't quote me on this, I want to say it was something like 12 or 13 years ago, but then they dropped all that broken concrete kind of down there, but the integrity was lost at that point. So, you know, I don't want to speak for them, but we're obviously close, especially on this matter. So I know they're looking for some movement as well. And again, I appreciate your guys' effort. I'm not trying to throw stones in here, just trying to look to see what we can do to move.
I will. When you say it's 5 years, sir, and I have council members that say it's been longer, it's our job to take care of that. What are we doing?
I think I saw some old I was going through my village papers and I saw some old photographs from, I think, 2009 or something. So.
Yeah. So it's incumbent upon, it's our responsibility to take care of that, and it frustrates me, so thank you.
Thank you.
Just to round this out, I'm sorry. We've had a number of discussions since I've been here, and I'm relatively new, and it's come to us, and the solution or the proposal was extremely expensive, and we've sought alternatives, so I don't want to say it's been ignored. I don't have a lot of depth of knowledge on it, but I know some of the things we discussed were extremely high cost, and we pushed back. So that's all I know, but I'm glad you brought it to our attention. I appreciate you coming and taking your time, and we will, especially the new council members, will take this point.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Mr. Randall.
What
Yes,
address were you using?
111,
The first house?
the second house.
Second one.
Second house. Yes,
I
sir.
don't think I've ever met you. I've been out there for the 12 years.
Good man. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just keeping our face like you have been.
I would appreciate us getting a solution.
Yes,
So,
we all would. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I did not hear back from our contractor, and I texted
Okay.
and called him, emailed him.
all right, so let's talk about it. Formulate, go back, pull our previous data. There was an inexpensive consideration, an affordable one, I think, but I'd have to see that, and that would be to do it not the way that you'd like to see it done, sir, but there are other possibilities.
So the biggest concern I have, and I know Joe had come out to the house one time to say, hey, you know, there's an option for us just to, you know, put from the street, basically like a mound that goes, you know, basically down, and, you know, I'd lose all the parking. When I purchased that house, my house was, I mean, it's literally on the street. I created a parking spot in front of my house. There was a little I'll call it garden type of area, just for like half of a parking spot. I say half because my car still sticks out on the road, which I know is kind of illegal too. So purchasing that property with that parking that was available, again, I know it's available to everybody, which it's not like I've ever claimed it's mine or told people that they can't park there. There's people that do still park there, amazingly enough. But that would definitely devalue my property completely from when I purchased the house. So just for whatever it's worth, and I've made this known, it would be a major concern for me if that's the direction that we're going to go with. And again, being a homeowner, I'd love if the homeowners are involved in that decision, because if that's the decision that we're going to go forward with, I'm going to have a major concern over it, just for whatever that's worth. Again, it was there when I purchased the property. I mean, I'd like it restored at a minimum to what it was. I've always said, at least me as a homeowner, I can't speak for the other two homeowners, but look, I use the property absolutely. I definitely feel obligated, rightfully so, to help contribute to the overall matter. It's just, I can't, for me, again, I'm speaking on behalf of my property, I just can't lose that. That would really, handcuff me in the future if I ever needed to sell the home. It's like, half a parking spot, I don't know, I wouldn't purchase the place if that was the consideration. So just for whatever it's worth, those are my concerns if we do go with that one option of just leveling it to the water, pretty much, or not leveling it, be basically a big slope down to the water.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Close call to public. Moving on to consent agenda.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Support.
Support. We have 11 items on the consent agenda this evening. Approval to reappoint Dika Bourbon, Henry Laurent, and Richard Reard to 3-year terms on the Planning Commission, term to expire on April 30th, 2022. I have not heard from Dika so I would like to amend that right now to just be the other two members. Item 2, resolution for redevelopment, Ready Community. Item 3, Greens Park's hours and fees for 19 and 20. Item 4, Road Commission pedestrian signal maintenance agreement. Item 5, land purchase recommendation, Parking Committee. Item 6, Lake Orion Police Department reports, March 2019. Item 7, DDA Executive Director Report, March 2019. Item 8, Fire Department Run Report. Item 9, approval of Village Council regular meeting minutes for April 8th. Item 10, Downtown Development Authority meeting minutes for March 12th. And item 11, Board of Zoning Appeals draft meeting minutes for April 8th. We have a motion and support. All those in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's passed. Approval of the agenda. We have one additional item this evening. Mr. Young, where would you like to place that?
Under other items, 9B3, it's just scheduling a public hearing for May 13th for the proposed Lake Orion Challenge event for October 5th. So it's a public hearing.
9A3?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I accept a motion for approval of the agenda as amended.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Presentations. We have one presentation this evening by Orion Township Environmental Committee. Mr. George Hanley is here. Sir, if you'd step up to the mic and...
I'll try.
Thank you, sir.
As Ken said, my name is George Hanley. I'm a Lake Orion resident and chairman of the Orion Township Environmental Committee. Tonight, we wanted to make a presentation of a Green Up Award. It was an idea that was suggested several months ago by Mike DeLuca, who's a village resident, and he's on our committee, and we all endorsed it, basically to recognize individuals and organizations that were going above and beyond normal duties to make the environment more positive, more beneficial. So that's what we wanted to do tonight. Unfortunately, Mike ended up with a conflict, and he couldn't be here, so you ended up with me, and I'll do my best. But tonight we wanted to recognize Chief Narsh and the police department for creating for installing a lockbox for collecting expired meds and meds that meds are no longer needed, so that they don't end up being inappropriately dumped into water, ending up in our water supply or ending up in somebody's grasp that wasn't supposed to have it and creating some harm to them or to some others. We think, as a committee, that it's essential to get that service from the police department. We're really happy that they're doing it. In fact, the sheriff's station's got it, and the township has got it, and the village has got it. And I think if you look down at our resource list for where you can take meds that are in this category, those are the two places. There is no other. So, I think we're a bit vulnerable, and I think you're providing an absolutely critical service that we need that continued. So we wanted to recognize them for doing that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordan.
And, I didn't want to take a whole bunch of time, but I think this is a pretty attractive thing, and so we can
It's very nice. Thank you so much.
put it somewhere so we can get attaboys for it.
I'll put that in the lobby where the officers also take the time to empty that thing. And on behalf of the police department, to the environmental committee, and you, George, thank you so much for recognizing that. And for people that are watching, and for council and for everyone here, a couple of really important facts why that thing is such a great investment. Number one, it's keeping all of these drugs that would be in a landfill going into our water table, and they are there. Every water supply out there has levels of estrogen in it. But another massive and huge thing that is, I call it people environment, is we know that 3 out of 5 people addicted to heroin, the path to heroin addiction, 3 out of 5, was prescription pills. And 2/3 of all prescription pills that addicts are using and receiving come from sources other than a pharmacy. I know we beat up on pharmacists saying pain management needs to be controlled, but 2/3 of all the drugs that are being used illicitly are coming from home medicine cabinets. And how that happens is you've got your home for sale on the market, and people come in and they go right to the bathroom. Half the people coming into your, I won't say half, but a very large number of people that are going to open houses are going to see where the drugs are. So we ask people, if it's scheduled narcotics, please, and they're not being used, bring them in. And the Sheriff's Office substation on Joslin Road, Lake Orion Police here, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, our offices are open. We'll even take them if you got a big batch and you want to push the button and have an officer come. We'll come and take those. So it's environmental, it's people environment, and we're stopping the temptation of addiction and the pollution of our landfills. So thank you so much.
We really appreciate you adding that to your police duties as a protection against that for all of us that are here in the township. So thank you very much.
Well, we're honored to receive the award, and I will say that the credit really goes to the people that are coming. We dump that thing continually, and we have collected in the hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I was trying to get that figure today, but I had some pressing matters. I couldn't get it, but I think we're over 1,000 pounds of just pills that we've collected since that's been there in 2 years. Yeah. So it's amazing, and that's the people in Lake Orion that are bringing them out. So please remember, we're here, we have it. Bring your meds, no sharps, no fluids.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, if I could, I'd like to get a picture of you two together real quick with the certificate.
Oh.
You might just walk up here?
Yeah. This is the bag for Saturday, in case anybody's going to go out there and help pick up.
All right, great. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have a question.
We have a question.
For sharps, where's a good place to get rid of those?
I know a lot of doctors' offices, the DEA is licensing up. They're even having drug boxes at a lot of stores and things, but I would say contact your local doctor's office. Our kits just won't allow that, the sharps and the fluids. It's kind of a perplexing, so I'd say talk to your pharmacist or your doctor to see what a safe alternative is.
Yeah, I work on the resources document that we circulate within the township on an annual basis, and I think the only place that we could find that would take sharps, and there's a charge of like 60 cents a piece or something, is Binson's over on Rochester Road. They will take them as long as it's not in commercial quantity. And my wife used to have shots, and that's where I took them over there. I put everything else in in the boxes, and then I took them over there.
And I'd like to see that happen. I know we're evolving all the time with that. The DEA won't take those from us, but I'm hoping the incinerators will now melt anything. You could put literally anything in there. But I think it's more of a handling, safety, and security. But that may change. But for right now, we're just unable because we have to turn these drugs over to the DEA and then they destroy them. So.
My scariest experience in the last couple of years, I've done the green up now, I think 4 or 5 years in a row, and I was over on Silverbell and we were cleaning up near the Masseri development, and it's unbelievable the amount of crap that's on the side of the road. And I was reaching down in some of the areas, there were 2 or 3 of us on that side of the road, reached down and I picked up this thing, and this hand was a sharp. Fortunately, it was not stuck in my hand, but people in fact are driving down the road and out the window because they don't know what to do with them, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hanley,
You're
from the
welcome.
Environmental Committee.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Chief.
Thank you, George.
Take care.
Thank you, Council.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? That's it, presentations. Moving on, public hearings, item 8, public hearing on ordinance number 12, Parks and Recreation Ordinance, Green Park. Mr. Young?
Yes, Council, before you is an ordinance amendment as recommended by the Parks and Rec Committee to provide that the rules within Greens Park be set by council resolution rather than in the ordinance. So the ordinance amendment is removing the prohibition of kayaking, canoeing, and paddleboarding and putting that under resolution by the village council. So it's
Okay.
public hearing at this time. Later on this evening, there'll be second reading and consideration of adoption. Just going to open the public hearing.
So at this meeting here, we're looking for a motion to adopt.
Well, no, we just run a public hearing right now, so you're going to open the public hearing.
Okay, I'll open up for public hearing. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Ford, and I live at 225 North Broadway. I am on the Parks and Rec Committee, and we agreed to have this, but then over the weekend, the gentleman that is wanting to have a contract in reference to kayaking and paddleboarding, I don't have a problem. But in seeing the correspondence, and Joe knows that because I responded back to him, my only concern is now he wants to add other things, but now he's adding other things, and and everything is kind of like, well, if we want, can we do this, or we might do this, or we might do that, and it sounds kind of willy-nilly. So I'm hoping that should you consider passing this, and I don't have a problem with that, I'm just concerned that if this is approved, I'm just concerned about that contract that he's going to think he's going to have reign to do a lot of other things. When I read his email, it doesn't sound like there's anything concrete. For instance, he's spoken of, he wants to add yoga classes, which is fine, but now he's talking about having yoga classes on paddle boards. And so then it's a time situation. So I'm a little concerned with that type of thing, and I just wanted to express that. Teresa, I know you probably read it too, so I don't know what your thoughts were on that, but I just think that the things that he wants to do sound sketchy, and that we're going to have that discussion tomorrow night at our meeting. I don't have any problem with the paddle boarding and the kayaking, but then all of a sudden he's saying yoga on the paddle boards, and I'm thinking, well, what time would that be? And it just sounds like he's kind of jumping around, and I think he has good intent, but his mind is, all of a sudden he's thinking of all these other possible things he can do, and it's like some of it we agreed to, but others it's like, what parameters is it feels like he's just going to keep going and going and taking over. So I was just a little concerned with that, that's all. And I don't know if you're following me or not. Do you have any questions, or did you see that? Any of you see that email in the correspondence to Joe?
No, I sent it to the Parks and Rec Committee.
Okay,
to
all right,
discuss and
that's
then make
fine.
a recommendation back
So we'll discuss. So tonight is strictly for the paddleboarding and the kayaking. So possibly tomorrow night we will discuss these other items, but I just didn't know if any of you had seen that.
Yeah, all it is just an ordinance amendment this evening to allow.
Okay,
And then we're not examining who to let a contract to or what type of contract. That's still on Parks and Rec.
right. So tonight's just the hearing, and I understand that, but when I saw that, I was just like, when I read that, I was a little concerned, so I thought, I'm going to come and maybe I'm jumping the gun here at this point in time, but thank you for listening.
Well, later in the meeting, there will be the adoption of the ordinance later, but it's just the ordinance right now
Yeah.
that allows for something else. It's not the contract.
Which is what,
Yeah.
that's what I assumed it to be, but I thought just to, I guess, get a clarification. Thank you.
So just as a question, is there a risk? I'm asking you because you're our resident expert. If we support this change in approval to the council from the Parks and Rec Committee, do you see that as a risk somehow of losing control of activity of Parks and Rec?
Well, right now with this ordinance, all we're doing is changing that, that the regulations are by resolution from the council. Instead of having to change the ordinance every time we want to change like hours, all this right now is doing is saying it's subject to resolution of the council
So would
instead
you
of
prefer,
ordinance.
does it make it easier for Parks and Rec to do their business if the council approves things by resolution?
It makes it easier because we don't have to go through a multiple meeting
I see.
process to pass any
With public
ordinance.
hearings? Okay, I see. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for helping.
Okay, no action needed at this time.
Close the public hearing. And
We'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 9, agenda items for consideration, financial matters, invoice register, and bill approval. Mr. Young.
Yes, council, before you, you have checks written on April 16th, an amount of $25,378.05, and an invoice register dated April 18th, in the amount of $113,603.07. If you have any questions on the item, I have the bills here.
Move to approve the bills paid April 12th in the amount of $25,378.05, and to approve payment of the April 18th, 2019 invoice register report in the amount of $113,603.07.
Support?
Challenges, any additional questions? All those in favor, please indicate by aye. Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes?
Granville,
Yes.
Van Poortvliet.
Yes.
Rutt.
Yes.
Matheson.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. Item 2, 2019 Local Road Improvement Pilot Program Grant Request. Mr. Young.
Yes, council, before you, we have an application to apply to Oakland County for funds for road improvement. The amount of money available from the county is $7,604, and it's proposed that we use this money towards the previous grant application to the state for resurfacing Lapeer and Atwater streets. So the application would help defray our share of the cost for that project, should that grant be awarded. And we're asking council approval to apply for this money in that amount, $7,604.
Entertain a motion.
I move to approve applying for the Oakland County 2019 Local Road Improvement Pilot Program as presented.
I'll support. Questions, discussion?
Does this obligate us to anything on to continue applications for further grants as a condition of accepting this money?
I'm sorry, what?
Does this money obligate us to any continued application for other grants or matching funds?
No.
This is
No.
just as available, and we want to apply for it. If we get it, it's obviously for road repairs,
Yes.
but it does not obligate us to any other matching grant request, anything.
Well, it's a 50-50 match, but it's only $7,604.
Okay. So that's the limited scope of obligation.
Right,
Thank you.
exactly.
Right. And if we were to receive it and not receive the other TEDF grant, then we might allocate it to a different project at that time, but,
Yeah.
so.
If there was anything that size
I see.
or
Any
available.
other questions? Okay. We have a motion to support this time. All those in favor, please indicate with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Should I have done roll call on that again?
I'm sorry?
Roll call.
We're okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Item 3, Lake Orion Challenge, Mr. Young.
Oh, oh, we skipped.
Oh,
7, 9, 8.
I'm sorry.
Or I'm sorry, under B. Before read.
Item 1, B1, lease property.
So it's supposed
It's not on my,
it's supposed to be under other items.
oh, I'm sorry. Gotcha. Other items, I had it as, item 9A3 is what I had it as.
I got it.
9B1, lease of property pending property split and authorization for sale of land, Mr. Young.
Yes, council, previously you'd authorized the splitting and bidding out of property along M24. It doesn't have an address of the parcel along AutoZone that was proposed to be added parking spaces for the project at 120 South Broadway. When in order to publicly bid this, we need to determine a fair market value. When searching for an appraiser that would give us a fair market value, they needed between 4 and 5 weeks and between $800 to $3,500. And so in the meantime, the project is moving to a point where they need to get construction going on their drainage system, water utilities, so they can have the building open. So I'm asking council to consider entering into a lease for that property pending getting the paperwork and information necessary to do a public sale is the next option. So this evening, I'm asking you authorization to proceed with the lease for the property, if they allot, subject to review by the village attorney.
Did we get a proper appraisal?
Not yet, because
This
it's
is
4 or
his
5 weeks.
Original bid on,
Oh, his original bid was $10,000.
and we went out for an appraisal.
We're trying to get one, but it's going to be 5 weeks or more away.
And he's wanting to lease the property up until,
Till,
I mean, doesn't he have to put a retaining wall in and stuff?
oh, he's got to do all the construction,
So,
yes.
Release it.
What if we don't, what if we don't sell it?
Well, we could continue to lease it to him. That's what we would be negotiating lease. I'm asking you if we can proceed with negotiating lease.
What's the lease? He hasn't figured that out yet.
Not the amount, no.
Are we able to approve the sale at 10,000, or are we obligated to get a fair market value signed?
We have to publicly bid it. In order to publicly bid it under the charter, you have to determine a fair market value.
All right, that's what I
So
But in the meantime, we could.
in the meantime, we could get this under lease so that he could continue with the parking underground work that he would need to be doing.
It's in everyone's best interest to proceed.
What if it doesn't go to him and he starts working on it, invests a lot of money, then what? He loses.
Well,
Yeah.
theoretically,
He'll have to
mean-
negotiate with the other party.
if the council chose to grant it to the other party, because it's not necessarily the price, but the use, because that land is not buildable. It's only, has very limited use, and therefore is questionable value to anyone except
Right.
the person next door.
There's risk.
Correct. And it would remain as public parking.
Yes, under the lease, yes.
So,
If we developed it,
no,
If he develops it,
well, he gets it done.
Well,
Maybe we should do a license.
he will soon.
Maybe we should do a license agreement instead.
license agreement? Oh, well, that's another, attorney suggested another option.
I'm thinking maybe another option would be to explore a lease agreement as opposed to, a license agreement as opposed to a lease. So the license agreement, we maintain complete power control. We allow him to use it, and if at any time we want that use to cease, we can do so. And any improvements that he would make on it runs at his own risk.
Yeah.
okay, so someone like to make a motion that might include a licensing agreement?
Make a motion that we proceed with the lease recommendation per Joe's notes and allow him the latitude to explore other options pending the sale.
I'll second that.
And so is it a lease agreement or a licensing agreement?
The license is
Either
the other
one.
option.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to explore both and see which gives you more control and power and autonomy over your land.
Okay.
But this proposal will get the ball rolling for the contract, for the
Yes.
developer, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
He accepts the risk.
yes.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and support for a licensing agreement. All those in favor, please indicate by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's passed. Thank you.
Does that include a lease agreement?
Both. License and lease.
You didn't say that.
Would
said-
you like to do something else that you'd like to add?
I'm sorry, Mr. President, you said license agreement,
Lic-
potential for lease as well. You only said the one. And then I think it would be prudent to give, the full motion then is that you would give the direction to Mr. Young to sign either a lease agreement or a license agreement based upon attorney recommendation. And this way, then, it doesn't get stalled for 2 more weeks to come back in front of you. Just a thought.
Did you get that, Susan?
Would you like to amend?
I make an amended motion to allow Mr. Young to sign either a lease or a license agreement with the developer, and pending the fair market value and ultimate sale of the property, subject to review by our attorney.
Nicely done.
Recommendation.
I'll second that.
Very good.
I'm not sure what I said.
It was good. Almost had legalese in it.
All those in favor, please indicate with aye.
Well, what happened to the
Aye.
first motion?
Opposed?
They amended the motion.
It didn't go to a vote. I stopped it.
You stopped it before it went to a vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Item
I'll make it.
B2, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 12.06. Well, this says number 12.06. And the other one says ordinance number 12.
It is 12.06.
Okay. Parks and Recreation Ordinance, Greens Park. Mr. Young.
Yes, so, Council, this is the second reading and adoption of the ordinance that would provide for council by resolution establishing the rules for Greens Park as opposed to them being in the ordinance.
Okay. So we talked about this earlier, and a motion would be in order. You're going to support.
I move that ordinance number 1206, an ordinance amended to Parks and Recreation ordinance, which would allow kayaking, canoeing, and paddle boarding from dawn till to dusk, with specific locations and regulations to be determined by resolution of the village council, is hereby accepted for second reading and adopted, and shall become effective upon the publication of a synopsis of said ordinance in the Lake Orion Review pursuant to the charter of the Village of Lake Orion.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's passed. Okay. Moving on to 9B, item 3, Lake Orion Challenge.
Yes, Council, we've got a request for Lake Orion Challenge events for October 5th, and this being a first-time event, our rules and procedures require that there be a public hearing scheduled for this event, and the next council date would be May 13th, 2019. So we're asking council to schedule a public hearing for May 13th at 7:30 p.m. for the Lake Orion Challenge event requested for October 5th.
Okay, move to schedule a public hearing for May 13th. Yeah. What? Oh, 2019. Oh, let's see if we get the numbers turned around. at 7:30 PM for the Lake Orion Challenge event for October 5th, 2019.
Support.
Discussion? Questions? All those in favor, please indicate with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, go back to the call of the public. Anybody like to address council and call the public? Moving on to council comments, Mr. Matheson.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Hobbs.
Oh, yeah, Oakland Press has been putting out papers. I guess they're samplers. You can get them in your front yard. They throw them out from their
yes.
car. A lot of those are landing in the street, and and I see a lot of people not picking them up off their lawns and stuff. I usually just throw them. If I'm walking by, I throw it up on their porch. But I've seen the people that deliver these things, and they don't even care where the paper goes. They just throw it out on the street or wherever it lands. So I don't know if we should address that. But it's just leaving a bunch of clutter all over the place.
Right. Yeah, well, I'll refer that to the police chief, see if he can track down the source of that to get it taken care of.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that it, sir?
Yes.
Ms. Rudd?
Nothing to say.
Mr. Hammond?
I have a concern I would like to bring up. One of my pet peeves, of many, is these are good organizations, first of all, let me just say that before I get on my soapbox. Organizations go out and they solicit donations in the middle of traffic. The Lions do it, and the couple of other
Knights of Columbus?
Knights of Columbus do it, and again, good organizations, but one of my pet peeves is blocking traffic and people try to fumble. What I saw the other day in our new traffic circle was somebody soliciting donations in the middle of the traffic circle, and they would sprint when they saw a car, and the car that I saw slammed on the brakes. Somebody else narrowly missed them. I had to stop in the middle of the turn, causing somebody behind me to rock after they almost hit me. I would like the council to consider, I don't know if we need to get formal about it, and I wish Jerry was here, we need to put a stop to that.
Right.
It is unsafe. It's obnoxious at best, and it's unsafe in its present condition, especially with the traffic circles and the students that come and go up through there around school hours. It's just, it's unacceptable.
Agreed. Too. It's be different if it was the old stop sign where the traffic knew they were going to come to a stop.
Right. If you're already stopped and you want to throw a dollar in there, okay, maybe it bothers me that it's impeding traffic or it's dangerous, but a traffic circle, that's
No,
unacceptable.
that's agreed. It should not have been permitted whatsoever.
So what's the solution, Mr. Young? If you see that again, call our police department and
yes.
report it.
Well,
Yes.
they're given a permit, and
But not for that location.
No.
village. What?
No.
Not for that location, they will not
Is
get
the
a permit.
permit generic? They can go anywhere in the village?
No,
Or
you
is
have
it
to say
specific to a
specifically
location?
where you will be.
Okay.
Locations.
We need to not allow a permit in the
Right.
traffic circle area.
Right.
You know, I understand the goodwill associated with these groups doing what they're doing. I personally don't like it, but at least at a four-way stop, it's relatively safe.
Because traffic is designed to stop, not keep moving.
So, Mr. Young, we would never issue a permit in the middle of a roundabout, correct?
No,
Okay.
we will
So,
not.
if you see it again, report it.
Well, all the other ones that are coming in for the poppy sales and White Cane and Goodfellow papers, they come into the village for a permit to use our corners. That should be on the form.
Right.
That's going to be exempted from sales.
Is that it, Mr. Hammond, sir?
I'm off my soapbox, thank you.
Mr. Randall?
The Perry Street sanitary sewer, is that the closed session?
That's at the closed session, yes.
I guess I have no questions for a change.
Okay, I have none. Mr. Young, do you have any?
Just that our next meeting is not until May 13th, which also is our public hearing on our budget. We do have a special meeting Wednesday night. It's 6:30 here. So I just wanted to mention that.
Is that it, sir? All right, we'll move on to item 13, closed session items. Item 1, adopt resolution to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Public Act 267 of 1976, Section 15.268, Section 8E.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call.
Rudd,
Yes.
Van Poortvliet,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Hobbs,
Yes.
Matheson,
Yes.
Granville,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We will adjourn to closed session. Coming back at an undisclosed amount of time. It could be 20 minutes, could be more.
Will we adjourn from here or can we adjourn?
Ask Mary, 'cause
Is that right? We adjourn from there or do we need to come back here to adjourn?
We can adjourn.